Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back, and if you are new, thanks so much for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. Today I have so many books to share with you. I'm going to talk about all of the books that I hauled during the month of January. I have several poetry collections, several short story collections, and a few novels to share with you. And as usual, I am going to start with the books that I received from publishers and authors. So from ZG Stories and the University of Calgary Press, they were so kind and they sent me a poetry collection called I Want to Be Like Peter Falk. And this is by Canadian poet Paul Zits. He's actually a fellow Calgarian. And the info says, this collection provides an intimate, poetic interrogation of restrictive, at times toxic, masculinity. It offers a timely critique of gender and social expectations created through popular media. And this is part of University of Calgary Press's brave and brilliant series of books featuring fresh, bold, and unique voices and storytelling. So I'll have to check more of this series out, and I've actually already started reading this book. I'll probably finish it tonight. So I will be able to share more about it when I do my wrap-up on Friday. The next book is another poetry collection, and this is by an Australian poet, Akshay Chougaonkar. I'm not sure that I'm saying that properly. I'm so sorry, I'm mispronouncing the name. But Akshay sent me Welcome to the Campfire, along with this really adorable kangaroo bookmark. And signed the book as well, so thank you so much for that. And this collection, the blurb for this says that a campfire connects. The shared warmth blossoms into an unspoken relationship between the people gathered. There manifests a sense of belonging that we often long for. Welcome to the Campfire invites readers to gather around the campfire. How often do we disregard little inspirations around us? How often do we ignore numerous, fleeting interactions we have with the world around us every day? These are the things common to us all, the things that we all share, yet often overlook. Stemming from such ordinary, everyday observations, poems on the themes of nature, music, nostalgia, love, and internal conflicts in Welcome to the Campfire call upon the reader to delve into a tranquil contemplation about little inspirations that we all share, just like the campfire's warmth. This collection of poetry takes the reader through the night in comforting warmth of the campfire, rejoicing raptures of yore, half-extinguished intimacies, and unremembered pleasures. So this collection just sounds like it will be a very comforting read, and I look forward to that. The next five books are all from Radiant Press, and the first one, let me just find it here so I can read this for you. Radiant Press is an independent press in Regina, Saskatchewan, so all of these authors are all Canadian, and I like to support them. And the first poetry collection that I want to talk about is A Natural History of Unnatural Things by Zachary Logan. So the blurb for this kind of goes along the same vibes as Welcome to the Campfire when it comes to noticing the little things, and it says this: a microscopic and intense view of the sometimes invisible and ignored parts of the world we inhabit. Peering into cities and our place within them, the poet searches for meaning after the death of his father and reflects on his own experience growing up queer in a prairie city. So I think that this will be an interesting read. Next is Earth, Cool and Dirty by Jacob Lee Bachinger, I think it is. This is another poetry collection, a debut, and the blurb says this: Earth, Cool and Dirty is a timely debut collection full of wisdom and beautiful reflections on the state of humanity. It is a call to pay careful attention to the earth, to nurture it in the same way we attend to the people we love. Hopefully this will be a great debut. Next is The Teller from the Tale by Begaudre. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly either. And the blurb for this says this: it spins 3 stories in a modern blend of myth and realism. A sculptor with magical powers looks upon a princess, though it is forbidden for commoners to do so, and suffers the consequences. A father narrates a story called Rainbow Nights to his family every evening, and is the recipient of their cynical and amusing observations. 7 knights and their sister are presented to a fisherman and his wife who have lost their only son to the god of the sea. The family travels to a bleak island cursed by a sorceress on a quest to rescue their missing child. Xochitl is at Home is a mystical tale of a biomathematician who ponders her choice to remain childless as the gods lounge on her sofa and provide commentary. Part 2 is the delightful retelling of an Indian folktale as a young widow tricks the god of the dead into returning her husband. So I think it's a whole bunch of short stories. At first I thought they were interlinked. Now I'm not so sure. Maybe they're not. But I'll let you know when I get done reading this. It sounds like it'll be an interesting tale. Next up is another poetry collection called Crooked at the Far End by Gerald Hill. Crooked at the Far End is the latest book of poems in a series, which is called The Man from Saskatchewan. Travels, plays, and has a look around. So I think that I will probably look into that series if I like this one. It might be interesting. It sounds interesting. And then the last book from Radiant Press, I think has a really cool cover. I just think it's beautiful. And it sounds like it might be a bit of a mystery or thriller. It's The Errant Husband by Elizabeth Haynes. And she lives here in Calgary as well. And the blurb for this says, Thelma searches for her missing husband in Cuba while being bombarded with painful memories of their past together and her own unresolved grief. Along the way, she seeks advice from her father's ghost, develops a connection to another abandoned woman, meets an intriguing cab driver, and makes a friend who pledges to follow all the clues until Wally is found. So this sounds like it will be really interesting, and I really do love this cover. Next up is the book from Republic of Consciousness. It's called Wilder Winds by Belle Olid, and it's translated from the Catalan by Laura McGloughlin. And it's a very quick read. It might not even be like 80 pages, and it's short stories. And the blurb for this says the following. It presents a stunning collection of short stories that draws on notions of individual freedom, abuses of power, ingrained social violence, life on the outskirts of society, and inevitable differences. Alongside these are small acts of kindness capable of changing the world and making it a better place. Like flowers stubbornly growing and blooming in the cracks of a pavement, Olid's work seeks out beauty without renouncing truth, and never avoids conflict or intimacy. Wilder Winds create scenes and fragile, yet hardy characters that will stay with the reader for years to come. So this is a quick read, which I like sometimes just sitting down and being able to read a whole book in one sitting. It sounds like this one will fit that bill. So the next 2 books I have already talked a bit about when I did 22 books to read in 2022, and I talked about the books being published in January, February, and March. And first is Olga Dies Dreaming, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce the first name, so I'll let you see that there. Hopefully you can see that. And the last name is Gonzalez. And this is a debut novel set in 2017 in New York City when Puerto Rico was experiencing a horrible hurricane. And the 2 main characters, Olga and her brother Pedro, are very public figures in New York, but their lives behind closed doors is very different. And then their mother, who abandoned them, is now back in the picture, and it forces them in a way to have to face some family secrets. So this is a story about political corruption, family secrets, sacrifice, and survival, and I've been hearing really, really good things about this one, so hopefully it'll be good. Next is another Canadian author, The Maid by Nita Prose, And this is about Molly Gray, who is a hotel maid, and she finds the dead body of an infamous person, Charles Black, in the bed. And Molly becomes the lead suspect in the case. So I think this will be very interesting. The next book on the pile I picked up because I am reading it with Sandy from MsReads Alot and her 1001 book club, The Sea by Iris Murdoch. I have never read any Iris Murdoch before and have wanted to for some time. So when I saw that Sandy had this as part of her list, I thought that it was a perfect opportunity to join in. And I am trying to go into this as blind as possible, so I actually haven't read anything about it. I don't know what it's about. I will say that I was surprised at the size of it when it arrived. I didn't realize that it was going to be so lengthy when I decided to join in, but no worries, it will all happen. So I'm not going to say really anything else about this book, since I do want it to be a surprise for me, but after I'm done reading it, I will definitely share everything. And if you're interested in joining Sandy's book club, I will leave a link to Sandy's channel and her book club video in the description box below. Okay, so a few more on the list here. Next is School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. I've seen this book in a few different places. I'm not sure that I would have picked this up on my own. I received it through a box subscription. It's a Canadian book box subscription called It's a Good Day box. It's a Good Day book box, something like that. And I'm definitely willing to give this a try. The blurb for this says this. Frida Liu is struggling. She doesn't have a career worthy of her Chinese immigrant parents' sacrifices. She can't persuade her husband, Gus, to give up his wellness-obsessed younger mistress. Only with Harriet, their cherubic daughter, does Frida finally attain the perfection expected of her. Harriet may be all she has, but she is just enough. Until Frida has a very bad day. The state has its eye on mothers like Frida, the one who check their phones, letting their children get injured on the playground, who let their children walk home alone. Because of one moment of poor judgment, a host of government officials will now determine if Frida is a candidate for a Big Brother-like institution that measures the success or failure of a parent's devotion. Faced with the possibility of losing Harriet, Frida must prove that a bad mother can be redeemed, that she can learn to be good. A searing page-turner, The School for Good Mothers introduces in Frida and every woman for the ages, using dark wit to explore the pains and joys of the deepest ties that bind us. Chan has written a modern literary classic. I like dark wit, so that might be good. Yeah, I think that this might be good. I haven't, like I said, I haven't really heard too much about it. I haven't seen any reviews about it, so I'm willing to give it a shot. The final two books I am so excited to read. First is a short story collection, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This book has been everywhere and I've only heard good things. The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, it just sounds so great. It explores the raw and tender places where Black women and girls dare to follow their desires and pursue a momentary reprieve from being good. The 9 stories in this collection feature 4 generations of characters grappling with who they want to be in the world, caught as they are between the church's double standards and their own needs and passions. There is 14-year-old JL, who has a crush on the preacher's wife. At 42, Lyra, I'm guessing, realizes that her discomfort with her own body stands between her and a new love. As Y2K looms, Caroletta's same time next year arrangement with her childhood best friend is tenuous. A serial mistress lays down the ground rules for her married lovers. In the dark shadows of a hospice parking lot, grieving strangers find comfort in each other. With their secret longings, new love, and forbidden affairs, these church ladies are as seductive as they want to be, as vulnerable as they need to be, as unfaithful and unrepentant as they care to be, and as free as they deserve to be. So there has been so much about this said already, and I can't wait to get into it. Next is You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes, and this is the third book in the You series. And I've watched the 3 series on Netflix, and I'm hoping that this is just as good. I love being in the mind of Joe Goldberg. He's a total psychopath, but I can't help but also really like the guy, and that's what makes it all work. I like the first book and the first episodes, the first series, I guess, first season in the series is my favorite, but the third season in the series definitely had some twists and turns that I absolutely loved, so I'm hoping the book stays fairly true to it. I know there has been some differences, so this is one that I'm really looking forward to. So those are all of the books that I hauled in January. Please let me know if you have read any of these, if you are interested in reading any of these, or let me know what books you're looking forward to reading that maybe you picked up in January. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.